Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Movie Mates podcast. I am Matthew, of course, joined by my wonderful co-host and best friend.
Callum.
Hey man, great to see you. Now, today we're reviewing another Kiss and Booth movie, and of course, as is Movie Mates tradition, we always bring back our best pal Kash for these movies. It's just
Yeah,
just tradition. Kash is buzzing to be here. We're buzzing to have you back on, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
No, you're very welcome. You're very welcome, man. And if the viewers haven't seen our previous Kiss and Booth reviews, we talk for quite a long time about one movie because it's a classic Netflix teen rom com. There's plenty to be said, plenty to sort of have fun talking about, and I think today will be no different. I'd imagine it will be a podcast episode length. So yeah, I'll pass over to you, Calm, if you want to just describe what's been going on in these movies and what is the final chapter of this franchise. So over to you, mate.
Yeah, to put something out there, this is one of the worst marketing campaigns I've ever encountered because I don't think if I had told either of you that it was coming out on Wednesday, you either of you would have known.
I
I
had no
saw
idea.
one trailer like 6 or 7 months ago, and then since then it's been total radio silence. It's appeared on my Netflix page once. Like I just feel like, and somehow it's in the top 10. Like it's just horrendous outreach, I think. But to summarize the first two films, first one, two best friends, one shags the other one's brother. Issues come up. Second one, same plot. Brother still has issues with it, but now there's another guy trying to edge in. Little love triangle. And then in this film, we see finally them move on from life. Maybe get a broader perspective on the universe, and they're all heading off to university. And of course, things inevitably in these films, don't work out easily. So there's a toss up, a decision to be made by the protagonist Elle. She decides whether to go to university with her friend or with her boyfriend Noah. The brothers. Issues arise. Pretty good movie in my opinion. Not
Yeah,
terrible.
it's so funny you mentioned about the
Same,
marketing
same.
because as soon as I went on Netflix to watch it the day it came out, like there was no, you actually had to go
Nothing.
into the search bar to search for it. Like it was that obscure.
Yeah.
So
So
I don't know if you found that, Cash. Were you the same?
Matthew, the only reason I knew it came out is because you messaged me, and then literally, so I was like typing it on the Netflix, and usually you have to put in like two letters on Netflix, and anything will pop up.
Yeah.
I typed in like the full kissing booth, and the newest one didn't even come up first. The
Yeah.
older ones came up first, and I was about to message you back, being like, "Are you sure it's out? Like, I don't see it here on Netflix." And then I
Yeah.
had to like scroll down, and it was there, and I was like, "Okay, interesting."
Yeah. The
And
marketing
nothing
was
ever comes
bizarre.
out on Wednesdays anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's weird because you'd think these movies would be quite popular on Netflix. Generally, Netflix teen rom-coms usually are, especially with some of the cast members in here. But nonetheless, I think Callum, you'd said this was like the final entry into the franchise. So unfortunately,
Tragically.
I know this will probably be our last time reviewing it
Thank God.
as a
Thank
trio.
God.
Thank God.
Just looking at it now, it's number one in the UK today.
There you go. It's got an audience, but it's bizarre because you wouldn't have really thought it from opening day. Really, it didn't seem to have that much traction. Even online, there's not really much reviews I've seen for it or anything like that. And I remember it had quite a strange sort of trailer release, and that the trailer was maybe released, months or maybe close to a year ago. Because I don't know if I'm making this up, but was there like a situation where the films were produced back to back or something like that?
Yeah, they were filmed back to back, edited back to back. I think this one was completely done at the point where number two came out, and it feels like it's been a lot longer than a year. It's only been a year since we talked about the first two, since the second one came out, and it feels like so much longer. And I
Yeah.
do think it's presumably just pandemic madness.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say so. So, if any one of you boys want to open up the floor with the notes, I'll just chip in or I can.
Well, we previously talked about To All the Boys I Loved before. I don't think Cash has seen them, but he really should because they are in a similar vein. And
Okay.
the second and the third films of those two franchises, inevitably because they're just about the growing pains of being a teenage girl, and all the love complications that ensue. So there's inevitably some some parallel thought between those two franchises, and you know, as imagined, this one is a bit similar to the third To All the Boys film, but at least this learned the lesson of bringing back the love rival. You know, where we were very disappointed they didn't bring back John Ambrose McLaren in the third film. They do bring back Marco here, although unfortunately, you know, they do sort of show that he is the superior love rival, which I mean is regrettable when you're trying to, you know, pitch this epic romance.
Yeah, certainly. The Marco character, he's actually, I sort of said this to you, Cam, before we reviewed, before we hopped on the podcast. Like, he's probably one of my more preferred characters in the trilogy. Whoa. I know that's a bit of a, I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but you know, in this film they really do go to town with the Marco and Noah rivalry, especially. You know, you think they squash it in the second film, but there's quite a fierce sort of altercation involving go-karting, which I thought was just magical, really. Really.
Do you know, is this just me, or does Marco not look weirdly exactly like Noah, but just tanned with a different haircut?
I think you pointed this out last time, and I still don't see it, Cash. But
really, they both just have the like.
Yeah, she has a type. She has a type, doesn't she?
Yeah, basically.
Men that are better than her.
Yes.
It's funny because the movie does sort of elaborate on that sort of conflict involving the universities and stuff, and I'm quite impressed at the fact that Elle manages to have the courage to reject not one but two phone calls from universities despite not getting like a solid sort of, you know, you're in university kind of thing. Like, she has to pick one, but she delays the phone call for a while. Like, I thought it would have been quite funny if she ends up delaying the phone call and they say like, oh no, you didn't get into university at all. Like, you know,
or no, like it's the fact that she like declines like 8 calls and then they're still like, oh, we love you, you know what I mean? Like, if you did that in real life, they'd be like, we hate you, you're never coming back here again, like leave immediately, please, like we don't want you here. If you missed 8 calls, like, come on.
Yeah. No,
also, sure. I mean, you know, between her working and her tumultuous relationship drama, I'm very surprised that she got grades worthy of any university, let alone 2 Ivy League ones.
Harvard, like literally Harvard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, I still think it's insane the number of universities. Like, I don't know if you guys remember this statistic from the Kissing Booth 2, but I brought attention to it whenever we reviewed that. They said that there were like 32 universities in like Boston, Massachusetts alone, or in Massachusetts maybe, and then we just have 2 in our entire country. Like, it's just a bit jarring to hear that.
Yeah, no, it's crazy the amount of sort of campuses in the States for sure. And like, it is, I don't know, the thing I find about this, obviously the Kissing Booth films, like there's always going to be character conflict there just by the nature of the plot and stuff, and you know, dating your best friend's brother and those kind of things. But I don't know, I personally in this film I felt there was a lot of just conflict for conflict's sake, in terms of characters fall out with each other just to move the plot along. I thought the movie definitely could have been a bit shorter than it was. What was it, like 2 hours or something, the runtime? It was close to that.
Yeah.
It was quite long, wasn't it, gents?
And the first half was just filler, in my opinion. Like, the first hour, just absolute trash. The second hour I actually think was better, but you know, like, the first half was just a bit painful. It wasn't even like cringe funny. It was just like things were just happening for the sake of it, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what do you think, Helen?
As I was watching it, I wasn't like, I hate this. I was actually like, oh, this is actually rather fun. But I was like, okay, you know, it's wrapping up, 3/4 in, and then I look 30 minutes down. But I was just like, I'm actually enjoying it, but how is this possible?
Yeah,
definitely. And with that,
so,
you know,
once again,
go ahead.
Once again, Lee and Elle are battling out for the position of worst character in film history. You know, we know that these characters are best friends. But come on, you choose the boyfriend, surely. You know, long distance friendships, you know, versus long distance relationships. You know, a friendship is easy in comparison. You know, as the pandemic has shown us, you know, you hop on a Zoom call, but you know that can't replicate the intimacy of a relationship. You know, Lee, I think, is just a fucking child, and he's a privileged twat. You know, with his summer house. Like, go fuck yourself. Everything he says, I want to kill him. You know, they reference like Rule 19. You know, and I'm like, you're 18. you know, you've had these rules since you were what, like 6? It's like maybe it's time to revise them.
Yeah. Like for personally, Lee really fucked me off in this film, to be honest with you. Yeah, he really got on my nerves.
Yeah.
So Callum, you're really speaking my mind there, bro, to be honest with you. I thought Noah was by far more likable in this, which is unusual given that in the first film they kind of present him as this sort of stereotypical jock character. But I mean, yeah, I thought Lee is the worst for sure.
By the point where Lee was like standing at the like beach bit, like, you know, against the railing, kind of like staring in distance for like the 4th time, I was like, I don't like this guy anymore. And it would be like they missed what, like Play-Doh making, and he'd be like, oh, we need to play with Lego today. And you're like, just
spot on, Cash.
No one cares.
Yeah.
And it would be like something important, like she's like trying to like make sure her brother doesn't get kidnapped, and he's like, but we didn't get to make cookies. Oh.
Cash, you're speaking my mind here, man. You're speaking right. And I have a really soft spot for Rachel in these films, as you guys are aware. And the way he treats Rachel is just disgraceful. It really pissed me off, to be honest.
Like,
she deserves better.
You know, you can miss the integral moments of your high school of your university introduction to go to a concert with me.
Yeah.
Because I need love and attention constantly because I'm a dickhead. I was going to use a worse word, but I've been told not to use the C word on YouTube.
Oh, did you just get in trouble for that?
No. I've just been told a worry in advance because it's in my lexicon.
Okay.
But, you know, I just think that Noah is only a better character in this film because Jacob Elordi just is barely in the film, and I imagine it's probably due to scheduling conflicts with Euphoria. You know, so I think he just didn't want to be there. He's made comments about like being above the franchise and, you know, being better than it a lot, and I'm like, you're just as bad as any of them. You know, Joey King has done, you know, a lot of other more reputable projects, but, you know, she fits right into this franchise, and you do too. Like, you know, he is a Noah Centineo style, you know, block of granite kind of actor, and I just feel like he isn't above this.
And to be fair, I think even Noah Centineo, even though he sucks, he has more personality than this guy. This guy has the personality of a wet lettuce. Like, honestly, I genuinely think she spends more time in the cafe, like until like an hour and 15 in. I swear he says with 10 lines in the movie.
He's
like,
yeah.
And that's one thing that they just done wrong. It's like she's the main character's boyfriend, but he has zero personality. Like, you actually don't know anything about him. The only thing we know is that he mopes about a bit and like rides a motorcycle. You know what I mean? They give him zero personality.
Hot bod.
And also, you'd think, obviously they do it in like the first 2, but you think there'd be a bit more like drama or tension or banter with her being best friends and boyfriends being brothers. But in this one, there's like, it's almost as if they don't know each other, other than like the painting, the door frame bit. You know what I mean? Like, it sometimes feels like they aren't all living in the exact same house on the beach. I don't know. It feels really
definitely, bro. Definitely. Like, I think the film.
You know.
Yeah, no, go ahead, Callum. You go ahead.
Sorry, you know, when he says, you know, when they hug and they say like, "See you, brother," like it sounds like, you know, brother in the context of like a childhood acquaintance rather than your brother.
Yeah.
I think the fact that he's barely in it compared to the other 2 films, which is bizarre, because I think if someone were to watch all 3 films back to back, you would notice an immediate difference there, in his lack of screen time. And it's weird because the film, I thought the film makes a quite curious choice to bring back characters in the second film, namely sort of Marco and Chloe, and it does try to set up that kind of that vibe again of maybe of Noah being a bit, you know, unfaithful towards Elle, or vice versa rather with Elle and Marco. I just think Marco is just so much more likable on the screen than Noah is, and like I said, the aggressive sort of go-kart race was really the highlight for me. Although I do feel like
same.
A lot of the film's budget surely must have been spent on like the music licenses in that scene. I'm convinced it must be, surely.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know, but I thought that scene was quite fun, to be honest.
Actually, I agree. I think it's like literally in this movie like one of the only kind of like creative bits.
Yeah.
And then like it was pretty funny when they were like throwing what was that, like balls of like paint or something at each other. Like that
I'm amazed
was
that's allowed.
it made yeah, just in the eyes, crashing into each other. But even that, I thought it was so funny how there were just people like watching, other 18-year-olds watching, being like, oh, like no one would care in real life. You know
It would have
what I
been
mean?
brilliant if they just everyone just breaks their legs and the movie's over. Like that would have just been fantastic.
Noah dies in a go-karting accident or something. Rip.
Yeah.
That's it. Oh.
So Matthew, you mentioned you know, that they bring back Chloe, and when Noah announces to Elle that he's invited Chloe to stay at the beach house, you know, she goes, "Oh no, it's fine. That's ancient history." And I'm like, "What's ancient history, Elle? Noah not cheating on you? Like Chloe is to him what Lee is to her. Like, and she compares, you know, she goes like, oh, well, if you have Chloe staying over, I can go and flirt with Marco. I'm like, Marco is your affair. Like Chloe is his friend. You know, I just don't know how Noah managed to turn himself into the only likable lead in this
Oh
film.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, for sure. It's weird. I just find that whole reintroduction of those characters in the same sort of conflicts again quite weird. And like I said, I think that impacts the runtime, where a lot of the runtime, you know, a lot of the scenes in this film feel like they were potentially cut out of the second film, but then they needed to put them in this film for some reason, because there's a lot of different conflicts going on, is what I'm trying to say. And of course that leads into like the bucket list of the summer. I think it is from when Elle and Lee were kids. It's funny because I was kind of thinking about the implications of a lot of these sort of events, and the one in particular that I found was quite funny was the flash mob in the restaurant. Now, I think if that were to actually occur in real life, they're getting thrown out surely, unless maybe it's quite a musical
I have
restaurant.
written in my notes. I've written in my notes 100% sure that if they tried that anywhere, where anyone was having a nice dinner, they would have chairs thrown over their heads.
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
That's also like, why is that on their bucket list? Like whenever they were 6 years old, they were like, we want to do a flash mob in the restaurant. I don't know, it just seems really like random. And then they asked all their mates from the beach town to learn a choreography with them.
Yeah, but then like, you know, every other like old person in the restaurant's like, yeah, you go girls, and I'm like, you know, you would get a glass thrown at your head within 4 seconds.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I like the way the bit where they try to, at the end, they like sit down like inconspicuous.
Yeah, like it never happened.
Like, yeah, that adds so much to the scene. Guys, wait, did that actually just happen? Oh my god, we've forgotten already. Yeah, like it's just so silly, but.
So, despite Noah and Elle being incredibly dumb, as we know, they both managed to get into Harvard somehow. But Noah manages to say the first intelligent thing anyone has ever said in these films, and it's the realization that, you know, like loving each other isn't always enough. And you know, I think it's the first reasonable thing anyone has ever said in this franchise. Like Elle asks herself, you know, where could he be? You know, after many days of not seeing him. And then she like travels to the Hollywood sign and he's just chilling there. Has he been there for several days? Like how has he been showering? Does he stink? Has he shit himself? Like, you know, I don't know. I don't know what's happening, because it's genuinely like she's like, oh, Noah's been gone for days. I know. And then she hits the Hollywood sign and he's still there.
Yeah, I mean, I feel, what did you boys think about how they kind of approach the university thing by the end, in regards to, like, you know, the characters breaking up and things like that? Obviously Noah and Elle kind of decide to, you know, remain apart, so to speak, but there's a little tease towards the end that potentially things could resurface. What do you guys think about that in general?
I really liked it. I actually thought it was like one of the like only good bits of the movie. No, I think the last like 45 minutes of that movie is actually really good. They actually made it like emotional instead of just like this random, like easygoing, random crap happening movie. And they actually dealt with like the hard questions or whatever, you know what I mean? Like they faced the problem head on. And then I think that scene at the end was actually really nice. Well, somewhat. yeah. And then I think I actually find Noah kind of likable from that Hollywood sign onwards. You know, like the thing you said, Colin, like he's literally the only one who said anything that makes sense in the whole franchise, really. But they never even talk about the Marco thing. I feel like they never really deal with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They
it's
just
swept
kind
under
of
the rug, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah.
What did you think, Alan?
Well, I really respected the decision, and I do think it comes together nicely with the quite unexpected flash forward by 6 years. And I think Elle deciding not to be defined by the guys in her life was the most mentally healthy decision she's made in all the films. She decides to pursue her own ventures and go off and do what she actually wants to do without the influence of other people saying that this is how you should live your life. So her making that decision was I think her first show of any form of intelligence, emotional or otherwise. But the university system over there is just insane. Like, you make your decision of what you want to study when you get there, which, I'm incredibly jealous of, because I think it would have saved me wasting 2 years of my life. If I could have just joined a university and then just sort of vibed it out, sensed what kind of interest I had. Probably could have saved a lot of time and money.
Yeah,
definitely.
Like you said as well, 32 unis in one city or state is crazy to me as well. And the scholarship system, I'm not sure, I can't remember in any of these films if they deal with the scholarship. Maybe Noah has like some kind of scholarship, like a sports scholarship.
Oh no, they're rich anyway.
I suppose it doesn't matter, but yeah, like it certainly is interesting. Like part of me, I'll always have a soft spot for these kind of like teen rom-coms or the college university style Netflix movies. Like they do well. Like I think Netflix have really struck gold there in the sense that they know people of a variety of ages will enjoy them and watch them. One that springs to mind as well is the KJ Apple one last summer, I think it's called, which sort of is kind of similar to these ones. Obviously the To All the Boys films do really well too. So I think with these films, it is a little bit surprising me that they're concluding them so soon, in the sense that there's been no, I don't think there's been any like future projects confirmed or anything. But I
Do you really think 3 isn't enough?
See, it's enough for me, but I'm surprised Netflix, it isn't enough for Netflix, in the sense that surely there's going to be still an audience out there that will watch these. I mean, look at us three, we're still here. But I don't know. I definitely think there could be a spin-off TV show or movie, definitely, in the future, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose they spun off Love, Simon with just dealing with different characters in the same high school. So I mean, they could be like the new generation of the kissing booth. The next school year who uses this iconic kissing booth to solve all their problems.
Yeah, definitely.
And like Calum, you know what you were saying about like the whole like life lesson at the end with like Elle like finally realizing. I actually think that was good though, because in all the other ones, I think it kind of elevates the movie to just like, like a bantery movie to like something a bit more important to it. Because usually that's what all these movies have, like a kind of sappy life lesson that is very cliche and easy to learn. But I think the other ones were kind of missing that, at least from my memory. And I think this one is important because it makes sense regarding the past too. You're finally like, yeah, this kind of solved all our problems. So I think that was quite a good decision that they made.
Yeah, I think it's very obvious that we have negative opinions of a lot of the characters, but I think it's quite confusing how the movie plays that, because every negative opinion that I have had of certain characters is thrown out at one point or another by other characters. They say, oh Lee, you're a privileged child. They say, Noah, you're a dumb dickhead. Elle, you make mistakes constantly and you bring people down. So everything I could possibly think negatively of the characters is acknowledged by the film. So it's clearly self-aware that these are awful people, but then they never change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the Rachel thing that you were saying earlier, like, why do they not just put a bit more of that character in? You know what I mean? They could literally involve it so much more. But she's about 5 lines in the whole movie.
I'm gutted they got engaged.
Franchise.
I'm absolutely gutted they got engaged by the end. I thought it's so much healthier for them just to be apart, I thought, but
yeah, what ended up
it.
happening? Did they break up and then got back together and got engaged, or?
I think so. And during the time jump, yeah. I actually probably would have liked to see a bit more from that 6 year. jump just to see if the characters had sort of evolved.
Those are the movies we're getting in
yeah,
your
yeah,
pitch to Netflix apparently.
And it's funny because for a movie about kissing booths, there's a lack of kissing booths again, like that. Do you know what I mean? Like it's less and less each film these days. Yeah, like I definitely thought they were gonna sort of do like it is quite similar, ironically, to Riverdale this season in the sense that that end of the high school journey, doing a flash forward to their lives. Like I'm not sure if that was that was in mind or anything like that, but I thought it was quite an interesting thing to see in the film, because it's not anything that I was expecting, because I was kind of looking at the runtime, and it was I don't know, an hour and a half in, and a lot of the plot lines were coming to their natural conclusion. So I kind of thought, oh, what's this other half an hour going to include? And then obviously there was a time jump briefly. So I thought it was quite refreshing from the franchise, to be honest.
Yeah, near the end of the film, within that final half an hour, we see they sort of accept that the summer homes going to be sold for millions of dollars apparently. But Elle decides to send Lee and Noah's mom a gift, and I mean it's her own picture of her own family, and then she says, "I've just enclosed a little gift," and I'm like, it's hers, but okay, it's from her home that you stole, but okay. I think Elle just needs to get a grip on reality. And another example of her needing to get a grip on reality is, it seems to me, I'm not a huge gamer. It seems that at the end, where she pitched this sort of like fantasy football league where you build your own team, has she just pitched FIFA? Like, am I dumb? Or like
I think hers was esports, so it's more like, imagine like competitive, like CS:GO. It would be that, but fantasy football or something like that.
Okay, sorry. Is it like involving like like an Xbox Kinect or something?
Maybe, but yeah, I don't know. The funny thing is that they make her out to be this huge gamer, even though she just plays like single player, like arcade games, the whole franchise. You know what I mean? Like, and then she's like esports, game design. Whenever she's just playing like Mortal Kombat, like a 2D like game. You know what I mean?
It's funny because I feel like the film wants us to think that during this time, during the time jump, that she's changed and she's got a new look. She's in the game development, but by the end, she still they still tease that Noah romance as well, which I don't really like that, to be honest. Obviously it's not confirmed, but I think it was an obvious hint to that potentially. I mean, yeah, like as much as I really do like the characters here, or some of them, like there's some I really do like, but a part of me was sad that we'll never see them again. I don't know why I'm saying this, but like I don't know. It's because I enjoy talking about.
Noah waves goodbye, Matthew cries.
Yeah, yeah. Like it was maybe not an emotional send off. So that's definitely not the right word, but it was certainly sort of a little bit bittersweet in the sense that we won't have to talk about any of these movies again, thank God. But also I'll miss that because they're funny to laugh at. It's like when Riverdale is going to end inevitably. I will be sad when Riverdale ends. So it's the kind of similar feeling.
A place in my soul will be empty. You know what I mean? There'll be a cavity.
Yeah.
But that's another thing, actually. Sorry, if you don't mind me saying, what does Elle and Noah have in common? You know what I mean? Why do they like each other? In the movie,
horniness,
yeah.
So sometimes when you're that age, that's all you need.
True.
Yeah, just gets them by.
Probably. But the Rachel and the Flynn, is he called? What's he called?
Lee.
Rachel and Lee. I feel like that does make sense. But the Noah, like Elle thing, like I was just thinking, well, he just mopes about all the time. They have nothing in common. There's no reason to like each other. So just okay.
Very true. No, but she has a motorcycle now.
Oh,
that's
yes. Okay. That actually makes that.
And they have similar haircuts now.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So for me personally, I think that quality-wise, this was by far the best of the three. I think it's the best made with the least cringe. But that's not what we want here. We want a terrible cinematic experience. We want laughs made unintentionally. We want cringy moments and illogical thinking. But here, these characters are all, doing things that are positive for their emotional and mental health. They're making smart decisions. This is not what we want. That's what we want for people in real life. But in this franchise, we want people acting like absolute lunatics. So I think moving location to the summer house, to the beach, I think that it sort of freshened things up in a way that I didn't expect. In the way that To All the Boys did by shifting to New York. And I think it made it a lot more fun. Taking off the bucket list, I think provided like a solid narrative where you could have montages and events playing out with simultaneously with it making sense. But it was a lot more fun than the last one, especially because I think that one sort of universally bummed us out. But I am disappointed that it isn't an abomination.
Absolutely, I really couldn't agree more, to be honest. I think, although this isn't my favorite of the trilogy, I think it's definitely the best quality wise. I think it manages to balance a lot of conflicts reasonably well compared to the other ones. And like I said, I thought the time jump was actually a good idea. But I did miss that kind of cringy sort of laugh out loud moments that we're accustomed to with the previous two. But I'd have to agree, Callum, to be honest with you. Like I said, it's kind of a bittersweet moment where, if they gave us a fourth film that was just pure cringe, like, I'd be absolutely delighted.
Yeah.
What about you, Kash? What did you think?
Yeah, I think whatever you said is exactly right. I think they should just make like a parody version or something just for us three.
Blooper reel.
Just to laugh at. No, the bloopers wouldn't do it justice. They just need to make a version. I don't know, call it Kissing Booth 4. And I don't know, use like $10 for the budget and just make whatever comes to mind. That would be fantastic. But no, I think Callum probably said it the best. So yeah.
Jacob Elordi would probably demand that all the $10 just go to him anyway. So probably just wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, you could have the set, 100% of the setting just be the kissing booth. Knock that up for £5. You're living life. So Kash, I'm not sure how we approached the rating system whenever you were on last time, but it's sort of standard procedure on the channel these days with new releases that we ask, and we'll ask you first. Would you consider this film a massive hit or a piece of shit?
You know what? There's going to be a subjective answer compared to the other two. So yeah. I'm going to shock some people, but massive hit.
Oh my God, what?
Well, because it's all about your personal enjoyment. So I mean, the first two films are also massive hits in my opinion. It's nothing to do with the quality of them. It's how much fun you had, and I don't think anyone could argue that the first film isn't a cinematic masterpiece of a certain kind.
Undoubtedly,
Oscar winning.
Yeah,
I wish.
Yeah. Callum, what would you give it, mate?
Okay. We'll go to me. The first film obviously terrible in a sense, but a massive hit. The second one I probably would give piece of shit because I think it's really trying to be earnest. They don't handle the love triangle well. All the characters come across really badly, but not in a funny way. Kind of just like, you guys probably need to speak to a therapist. This film, I think it captured some of the magic of the first film. There's a lot more fun than the second film. I think a lot of the fun comes from, Lee being a complete child, being a privileged asshole, but we are missing some of the sort of the Elle and Noah aspect where she thinks that, their relationship is the center of the universe and that, nothing exists beyond them. We're sort of missing that from the first film. But, I do think I have to say that it's a massive hit. I think it's a reasonable conclusion to the three films. I feel satisfied that, we saw this full arc of a relationship, a healthy breakup, and then a potential room for future romance now that they've both grown as people.
Yeah, no, I'd have to agree, mate, to be honest with you. I think, looking back, on reflection of the trilogy, ironically, I think the second one's probably my favorite in terms of I probably enjoy it the most, even though it's not the best quality. I actually think this one probably is the best quality wise. It's just the enjoyment's maybe not up there, just because I do think it's maybe a bit too long. But that being said, I still think there's a lot to be liked here, and these films are like guilty pleasures for me. I think there's some stuff that to definitely be enjoyed here, and there's a reason why they're so successful. So yeah, I think I'll be a little bit sad to not see any more films to sort of talk about with you boys. But sure, I think this was a very fitting conclusion to the franchise, and yeah, it's got to be a massive hit for me as well. But I mean, that just leads me to thank you, Kash, for coming on for these 3 movies and taking. I mean, it's like 3 hours of your life you'll never get back. But we appreciate it, because these are some of my favorite videos to record with you, mate, and I'm sure Callum's the same. So thank you very much for following us on this emotional roller coaster of a journey, mate. Thank you.
No, thank you. It's a massive honor to be able to laugh at this movie for more than just laughing at it while watching it. You know what I mean? This makes it so much worse for me.
I think the only movie of the trilogy I would actually want to rewatch is the first one. So maybe a commentary one day we could just rinse it for 2 hours straight.
I mean, yeah, Kash, like, we'd love to have you on for more videos, mate, all the time. If you ever want to come on the channel, you just say, because it's an absolute pleasure having you on, mate. And you're a natural, mate. Honestly, it's great to talk to you. But yeah, that wraps up another Movie Mates podcast on the channel. Thanks very much, gents, for your time. And if you want to check out our other videos with Kash, we reviewed a few Riverdale episodes with him, so you can check that out in our guest playlist as well. But yeah, hope you guys are all well. Hope your family and friends.
The only guest, it's just a Kash playlist.
It's just a Kash playlist. That's all you need for sure. But yeah, thank you very much. Hope your family and friends are all keeping safe and well. Hope you're keeping safe and well. See you later, and goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.